Hi guys, today we are going to play another free Steam game. This one is called The Space in Between. And June, what is the answer to problem 14? You have absolutely no idea what the professor is talking about. You had spent the previous night watching anime instead of doing your homework. All of a sudden, you feel a kick from the side of your desk. It's 47, a voice whispers from your right. You see Miles. After class, you approach him. Thanks for that, you say, glancing at his backpack. You see a familiar pin from your favorite band. You listen to Fleet Foxes. Your first date with him is concert or at the park. Well, you're talking about your favorite band, so I guess a concert? A week later, you two sit at the beach pier, listening to street performers as the sky turns from a soft pink to black. Will you be my girlfriend? Sure. You two bond over your shared taste in obscure video games. He likes Night in the Woods, The Beginner's Guide, Florence. The only question I have now is when is the wedding? As weeks go on, you discover that he is endearingly awkward, sincere, and nurturing. You like how easily your conversations flow, a constant stream of stories, surprising vulnerability, and recommendation sharing. He may not have been your first best friend, but he is the most special one. Because here is this guy who notices the way you can't help yourself when you get excited, who holds you when you need it the most. You didn't realize that there was still romance in the world left for you, but here it is, big and glowing and full. You decide to celebrate by having a solo dance party in your room or baking every baked good you could possibly think of. The dance party. The playlist. All throwback songs, the perfect choice for pretending you're the star in a music video. Your friends don't even need to ask why you're smiling so much. He takes you to the lookout spot next to his suburban house and you slow dance to Hannah Hunt by Vampire Weekend or Golden Hour by Casey Musgraves. These are real songs. I don't know either of them. Oh, okay, now we have lyrics. So I think these are real songs, or they made them up. Baby, don't you know that you're my golden hour, the color of my sky, you've set my world on fire, and I know everything's gonna be alright. And suddenly you understand why heartbreak and sorrow must happen to have this joy shine so brightly. You see the neighborhood lights reflect in his eyes, and you dare to take his hand. You are now 5 months into your relationship. I can't believe you're driving us 2 hours just to go stargazing. I officially won my boyfriend lottery. I like driving. Plus, it'll be nice for just the two of us. My sense of direction is kind of questionable, and there's no signal, so I don't know if that's a good thing. Oh, we did pick a long drive playlist. So these are choices, okay. The playlist. The lookout spot will be pretty. It's also in the middle of the woods. If a bear tries to eat us, you're fighting it, and I'm running for help. Glad to know you're committed to our safety. I'm very committed. I'm the one devising the plan in case the bear mauls us. I bet I'm a faster runner than you. I got it. I distract the bear by seducing it, and you can run into the bear and knock it over. Then we both run away. The power of fear will motivate me to run faster. Okay, we're gonna seduce the bear. I don't think the bear will be easily seduced. What? You're saying I'm not pretty enough for the bear? You're telling me your own girlfriend that she's uglier than a bear? That's not what I said. Yes, but that was what you meant. I tell you you're pretty all the time. Oh, I didn't know. What? You have a thing for bears? You want to break up with me, but you don't know how to break the news, so you're going to let me die instead. You have a thing for bears. No, I do not. That's why you think the bear won't like me, because you yourself want the bear. You're crazy. We should call this the bear dating simulator instead. That is not what's going to happen. I'm so glad that you're comfortable enough to share this with me. It's not true, though. The first step to getting help for your bear problem is admitting you have one. Fine, if the bear comes, I'll attack and you run. I'm glad we could agree on the plan. I, too, am thrilled. I don't think I've been here since I was a kid. I didn't realize how beautiful it is here. I'm so used to this city. Yeah, there's no one here. Let's set up the blanket and lay down. Do you know any constellations? No, I wish I did. I always thought they were boring, so I made my own. What do you mean? I would create random shapes from the stars, and then kind of come up with my own backstory. Either a random one I thought of, or something from my life. That's so wholesome. My mom said I was an imaginative kid. We could do that now. That's okay. It was a stupid idea. No, I want to. Here, let me start. You are now stargazing with Miles. To form a constellation, click and drag 2 pairs of stars until all edges of the constellation are visible. To find more constellations, move the mouse to the edge of the screen to scroll across the night sky. Completing constellations will unlock more constellations. I'm confused. It's not. Oh, okay, now it. Oh. Okay. So, I don't know why this seems to be like finicky. Why? It's like, do they have a specific way they want you to do this, and that's the only way you can do it? Because, see, now I can do it. Okay, I can see a camera. I was thinking, what if pictures could do more than just show you how something looked? Let's say you took a picture of a landscape. You could also smell the fresh air there. You could feel the ground. You could basically feel like you were there. So this would be more fun if I could actually make them how I want, but it doesn't seem like I can do that. I feel like that is a recipe for disaster. That's just a bigger incentive for me to not leave my house. You could use it that way. You could be on a call with your friend, look at a picture in Paris, all while being in your PJs. Photojournalism would be on a whole new level. People who are in long-distance relationships would love this. Do you think you could do one? Yes. I need to be optimistic about something in my life, and it's obviously not my career prospects. Seriously. What? It's better than having nothing. I think I could. I would have to have a date to look forward to that I could when I would see my partner. You know, about your camera idea. I think it'd be interesting if we could do that with pictures of ourselves at different points in our lives. We can see how far we've come. Your therapist would love that. Or there are times when I'm sad where just a reminder that I was once happy is enough. Thinking about good memories when I'm sad just makes me feel like being happy is further away. That's the ebb and flow of life. Then I wish life would stop ebbing so much. If we could put a barrier to be like, I'm only allowed to be this disappointed in myself, then that would be great. You have nothing to seriously be disappointed in yourself for. Oh, trust me, there's some deep-rooted regret within myself. Relatable. Do you think that's why we're dating? Because we both deal with things way beyond our mental capacity? Yeah, probably. I see white rabbit candy or Yakult? What is Yakult? Oh, what's that? It's a Japanese yogurt drink I used to have when I was little. I've never tried this, but it sounds good. I've never heard of that before. It's a sweet and tangy drink only found in Asian supermarkets. My parents used to drive us every couple of weeks to 99 Ranch Market. I haven't had it for years, so maybe we could go out sometime to get it. We could. I was actually in an Asian market recently. So you called it the Asian market recently. I didn't know whether I should buy it or not. If it's a matter of money, I'm willing to give us both the Yakult experience. A packet of 5 drinks is $3. It's all of my experiences there were with my mom. If you want, we could go together. You don't have to think about your family at all then. That'd be hilarious. Why? Being the only non-Asian person there. They're all going to stare at you. Old Asian ladies are going to gossip about you at the produce, like, Japanese statement that I can't read. I used to go to Asian markets. I don't really like the one in my town, as much as my old town, but no one stared at me. I'd be the only white person, even though it's in the middle of Los Angeles. I'll just say it's nothing like Ralph's. I didn't realize that grocery stores were such an integral part of the Asian experience. Now that I'm an adult, I don't really do Asian things anymore. I don't have anyone to speak Chinese to. I don't know what brand of udon to buy. I didn't realize that so much of my identity as a Chinese person was rooted in my parents guiding me. Would you ever want to cook Asian food with me? Depends on if this includes eating Asian food with you too. Obviously. Then I'm in. I see. CD. I used to make mixed CDs for people when I was younger. That's cute. It was inspired by my mom. She used to give me them when I was younger. I've never really talked about her a lot until today. I used to think making mixed CDs was so cool. It's weird to acknowledge that things were ever good about us. A lot of the time when I'm talking to people who don't know the situation between us, I act like we're good. My mom does this too, or my mom would hate that. I don't ever forget the truth, but sometimes it's easier to pretend I'm fine. Tell me about these CDs. My mom loved to watch Chinese dramas with my grandma. They'd do it almost every night growing up. For my 8th birthday, she gave me a CD with the theme songs to the dramas and her own personal favorite songs on there. I didn't know you two ever shared a good moment. It certainly doesn't feel like it now. Now, all I have left of that memory is a legacy of giving CDs to boys who didn't like me back. Were they aware it was a confession of love? If you show up to class and see an unprompted CD on your desk with the words 4 miles, I'm I'm sure you can take a guess. That was what was so great about it. If they confronted me about it and didn't feel the same way, I could turn it back onto them for interpreting my gift. Definitely what I would do is avoid the confrontation. That's very unlike you now. I know. Now I'm like, I demand you let me know if you like me, or the very thought of my face repulses you. I was going to say you're more forward now, but that's another way of putting it. As absolutely horrifying as it is to face rejection all the time, there's this huge relief to putting everything on the table, knowing I've done everything I could have. You'd think that I would be more careful over time, but I'm always chasing that slight possibility that maybe this is the one. Don't you get insecure after a while? Of course I do, but I still go for it anyway. And I'm not just talking about relationships. I'm always on the edge of greatness or despair. I'd be way too stressed out about the unknown. I'm scared all the time. So it's not about being fearless. If anything, it's acknowledging every single reason why you're afraid, but taking that chance anyways. Do you see yourself in your mom? Of course I do. All the damn time. What do you guys have in common? We're both loud, although in different ways. She's more of an angry loud. We both like the Sun Hotel California. We usually hate the same people. Does that scare you? My mom is a deeply unhappy person, so yeah, I can't end up like her. I know I'll never be like her. I'll never be like her. If that's anything to be sure about, that's a good one. Can you promise me something? Yeah, what is it? If I ever get unpleasant to be around, can you tell me? Junebug, you'll always be someone I want to be around. We may get into disagreements, but I accept you completely as you are. No one's ever told me that before. You deserve that and more than I could ever give. Okay. Oh, I see. I see the pond at Boston Commons. I've never been there before. It's a super pretty park that's right next to downtown. I used to go there a lot when I lived there. I wish there was a spot like that where I lived. It was just playgrounds, which no one really wanted to hang out at. Although, fun fact, I had my first kiss at a playground. Or what was so special about the Commons? What's so special about the Commons? I'd go at night when no one was there. There was a quiet, calming atmosphere when there wasn't anyone. Sitting at the benches, looking at the sunset, reflecting in the pond, it just felt like home. The night before we left for college, my friends and I went to the Commons. We stayed up until 4 a.m., talking about what we would be like in college. We all promised to keep in touch with each other. But then everything happened, and I haven't talked to any of them in so long. I feel like they've all moved on with their lives. It's never too late to reach out. They probably wonder where you are. Yeah, but I kind of ghosted them when I took my quarter off. I ghosted everyone. I'm sure they'd understand if you explained. But it wasn't like we naturally drifted apart. Yeah, but you never know if one day you can't say sorry. I was listening to this news story about this phone booth in Japan that doesn't work. A lot of Japanese people died in the 2011 earthquake, and people started going to this phone booth to talk to the dead. Anyway, someone put a microphone in there with permission, and NPR did this whole piece about the phone booth. I don't like to think about grief like that. I was listening to the recordings, and it was painful to hear even as a bystander. But after, I realized that it's never too late to reconnect. The fragility of human life is terrifying. I guess you're right. I keep thinking I'll do it, but then I put it off. There was this one recording of a guy talking to his mom. I started thinking about what'll eventually happen one day, and we'll have all of these years where we didn't see each other. Is there something you would want to say to her now? I hope she sees that she doesn't have to be angry all of the time, and that as damaged our relationship is, I hope she has the courage to change herself. I see a tea bag. Why is that? Asian people make tea by putting in the leaves alone. Growing up, I didn't even know that tea bags existed. My Lao never gave me white people tea. Is Lao Chinese for grandmother? Yeah, we'd used to drink tea on the weekends as she gossiped about the Chinese boys in our carpool group. Ah, that's cute. She was friends with the other Asian grandmas in my area, so she told me the insider tea about their lives. Get out, just leave. I know, I'm hilarious. Uh-huh. We always got along because she was so accepting, even though she grew up in rural China. She told me she thought you were handsome when we met. We always got along. Even though my grandma spent most of her life in China and worked in physics, she was actually okay with the fact that I liked to write, because Asian parents expect you to be in STEM. That's good. She once told me something in Chinese means you want to know why you will write great stories. It's because you see the world differently. Ah, that's adorable. She grew up being taught traditional Chinese ideals, meaning you're expected to adhere to social order. Maybe the changing generations shifted her perspective. She's really accepting of the newer generation. She actually vocalizes how she's feeling. What? What I mean is that Chinese people never express their feelings of love directly. It's always like, your mom is thinking of you because she brings you sliced fruit to your room, but your grandma does that and also says it to me. What does that even mean? Like when I'm studying, my grandma will drop off apples to my room, so I have a snack. That's I love you in Asian terms. They should change the definition of I in the Chinese dictionary so it means bringing produce to your door. That's so sweet. What does she think of your mom? She pretends her distance doesn't exist, or if we're talking the 5 stages of grief, my grandma is a mixture of denial and bargaining. She pretends her distance doesn't exist. There's this quote that says, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. I think instead it should be the opposite of hate is indifference, because that's how my grandma fights hate. You don't think your mom hates you, does she? If there's a word for my mom loves me out of social obligation, but also despises the very air I breathe, that's it. Do you think the opposite of love is hate? The opposite of love is still hate. I think where philosophers had it wrong is that apathy is how certain people show their hate. Well, love and hate are having strong feelings about something. Indifference is the opposite. Everyone has loved and hated something at the same time. No one's indifferent and in love. My parents are indifferent to each other and in love. I see. I see a volcano. My friend Catherine used to call me Volcano Girl. I see that mountain in your neighborhood, the one we drove to last time I visited. I see a mountain. Yeah, I know what you mean. Do you remember when we went? We hung our feet off the edge of your trunk, and we talked about what we wanted in a relationship. Yeah, you're actually the first person I brought there. That night solidified that I wanted to be with you. Why was I the first? So that I wanted to be with you. Really? I've dated so many guys that I had things in common with, but we never wanted the same things. When you told me you were looking for a committed relationship, that's the first time I felt like I could really be with someone. I loved that we could talk about our feelings openly. There's so many rules about dating that says you can't do that. You have to wait this amount of time before you text back. You can't seem like you care more, whatever it is. I refuse to participate. I was surprised by how honest you were. I was surprised that you were okay with it. I'm the type of person who needs confirmation that someone likes me, or else I think I'm making it up in my head. I'm the opposite. I go for guys who, even if all the warning signs are there, my friends hate me, then I'm your girl. That you are. I've always thought I was doomed, and there was nothing I could do about it. Things like romance, being desired, and being listened to. I didn't think those were for me. Why? Whenever I see cool girls who have their shit together, who have this effortless glow, I see them as versions of myself I could never be. So if I were a guy, why would I date me over them? Guys feel that way too. I never know what to say around girls. I'm the least intimidating person I know. Not to me. Every time I saw you, you'd be talking, and you never wavered. You sounded determined. Determined is a nice way to say annoying and loud. That's what I wanted to be, though. I wanted to have the courage to start a conversation with anyone in my class, to speak exactly how I felt. But being so outgoing scares people. At least people know you were there. That's what I wanted to be, seen. I see a sunrise. That would be a perfect constellation. It's specifically the sunrise of our second date. Really? Yeah. That's really wholesome. That day changed what I had thought previously about love and relationships. I never thought I'd find someone who got me instantly. That was legit me before I met you. To think that something so inherent as loving is something we didn't believe in. That was legit me before I met you. Men who have the personality of a wet piece of bread do not doubt their ability to find a partner. But here I was, wondering for days on end if I would ever get a boyfriend. I don't know if you remember, but we were taking turns making assumptions about each other. And you were like, a lot of people may not notice it, but you're actually quite thoughtful. I didn't think that anyone noticed the effort I put in. You remember things I said months ago. When you hear a good song, you tell me it reminds you of me. Of course I think you're thoughtful. When you said that, it wasn't just a nice comment. I felt like I was seen. I didn't want to just see you. I wanted to see you as you are. I never really thought people cared enough to try. I barely made any friends my first year of college, and I basically lost all of them the next semester when I took time off school for my depression. I was stuck in my hometown while all of my high school friends were somewhere else for college, which basically just made it worse. It must have been difficult, or you were taking care of yourself, which was the best thing you could have done. You were taking care of yourself. A lot of my friends didn't get it, because they knew me as this happy person, and everyone moved on from where we'd stopped putting in effort. It was barely better than the time I had off. I bet they didn't know what to say once they realized you changed. So then, when I met you and you kept talking to me, even though I was pretty awkward, I felt like I finally had someone. I didn't realize I had that impact on your life. I tried to fit in a lot. I joined the school newspaper. I tried to talk to people in class, but I never felt like I belonged. They all just tolerated me. But you made an effort to see me for who I am. I kinda had this thing, it's called a crush on you. Well, you came into my life right when I needed it the most. It's funny, you say that because I felt like meeting you was the universe's way of being like, here's something your way for the shit we put you through. When we first met, I figured you found me annoying. I was way more preoccupied by thinking I was annoying you. We should have just been honest with each other. I was too much of a wuss with you, to be honest. Yeah, you really were. Or we all have our wuss moments. Sorry, I'll clarify. And many factors, including your wussness, contributed to your lack of communication. You're going to comfort me by saying you're wuss too? Wuss in solidarity. I see a peach. Why a peach? I always ate them growing up. When I was younger, my mom and I used to go on walks in our neighborhood. She'd steal peaches off the neighbor's tree. It's a Chinese family thing. I feel like we all grew up watching our parents steal fruit. Isn't that illegal? Maybe? Probably. My mom's not intimidated by the law. I've never heard of that. Trust me, it's a thing. When I went to my Asian friend's house, their parents would offer me stolen fruit as a peace offering. Then they would ask me what I was studying, if I have a boyfriend, and whether I have post-grad plans. So the whole do you have a boyfriend-girlfriend thing is universal. I think all parents secretly worry that their kid isn't going to find someone. Whenever someone asks me that, I'm like, I'm already worried enough about my eternal singledom. Whenever someone asks me that, I'm worried. Have you actually said that? My friend's mom once asked if I had a boyfriend, and I was like, I'm trying my absolute best. Don't you worry. Oh my god. Seriously. They ask as if boys are pursuing us left and right, but it's more like we are hustling to find a man. Then what happens if you find a boyfriend? They ask all the questions normal people are too afraid to ask. They secretly gossip to my friends about whether he is a man of quality. It's a man of quality. There are so many very specific parts of Asian American culture that we just automatically understand, like the whole fruit tree thing and dating. I was talking to Rebecca the other day about growing up as an Asian kid, and she was like, I was so embarrassed of what our food smelled like at lunch. I realized that was also me. People made fun of me because they said it smelled weird. I guess I never realized that other Asian kids went through the same thing. And you all relate on this? Yeah, it's like being bullied about lunch is universally Asian. I never even noticed that people made digs at Asian people for that. Yeah, people made math and rice jokes, but I didn't realize that it was as intense as that. None of it was overt, I hate Asian people, but it was these subtle comments that slowly chipped away at my identity. These didn't particularly help either. I suck at math, and people always told me I was less Asian because of that. It's not I hate Asian people. For me, I feel some sort of connection to being American, but it's more something I go through the motions of. It's not like I hear some guy's life story and think that's me. I was talking about it to my friend, and it's like, we don't want to be known as just Asian, but everything we do is influenced by our Asianness. That's what it's like, and people miss. Okay, now to figure out what they want me to do with this, I just want me to go down. Don't even remind me. Come on. I don't want to speak of the events of Joshua Tree. I swear it wasn't that bad. Look, I don't think that seeing your girlfriend cry needs to happen after a certain number of dates, but I feel like our third one was definitely too early. I blame you. You're the one who said Lady Bird was your favorite film. You're the one who brought it. I'm just saying, Joshua Tree cannot be a constellation. Didn't realize it was going to make you cry. Well, you suggested 2 movies, either Lady Bird or that random sci-fi film. How is Star Wars a random sci-fi film? Anyway, I wasn't particularly in the mood, but I also didn't want to sound unappreciative and reject your thoughtfulness, so we watched it. If you said something, I wouldn't have been offended. I was pretty touched that I mentioned liking Lady Bird, and you remembered to bring it. I didn't want to be exposed for never seeing Star Wars. I thought it was sweet that you were comfortable enough around me to cry. My sorrow was not sweet. I don't think that crying is embarrassing. I don't either, but I had shared my life trauma with you before you knew my last name. Not to mention you were stone cold the entire film. In your defense, the movie is about the relationship between the main character and her mom, and it was sort of related to your life. I should have pretended to watch the movie, but actually stared off into the distance to prevent the waterworks. That's absurd. We were at Joshua Tree. Why would you bring a movie there of all places? I figured maybe we'd have some downtime if we were tired of hiking. You should have brought a board game instead. We alternatively could have made out the entire time. You should have brought a board game. I don't know any. We could have filled the free time with our amazing conversation. June, I'm just saying that I will never live this down. On my deathbed, I will look back on my life and be like, oh, remember that time you cried? Not just a single tear or 2, but sobbed on your 3rd date with Miles. I will remember. I think that's a bit dramatic. What's dramatic is sobbing during a movie where you're trying to impress the guy. My cool girl disguise was gone by the 15-minute mark. The movie wasn't even sad at 15 minutes. Exactly, you get my point entirely. I have the ability to think about Lady Bird and get emotional on the spot. You get my point. You see yourself in the movie. That's an emotional thing. My whole thought process was that movie is absurd. Then what is it? The reason I cried so much at Lady Bird isn't just that I see so much of my mom and her mom. It's because they were able to reconcile at the end while I'm not able to. Ah, June. That's a perfectly valid reason to cry. All of these books and movies where if you just wait around long enough, they'll come by. But this is my real life, one that can't be wrapped in a nice, succinct ending. There's this moment when Lady Bird goes, I wish that you liked me. Her mom replies, of course I love you. But then she's like, but do you like me? And honest to God, I don't know whether I would ask the question with like or love, because I don't think I'm ready to hear the answer to either. June, you shouldn't be ashamed of any of that. You know, at my high school graduation, my mom got mad at me for wanting to take pictures with my friends. She was grumpy the entire night, yelled at all of us during dinner, and then straight up refused to speak to me. And it was like, I know high school graduation is stupid and meaningless, but it's like, I just wanted to have one day where I could feel like a normal kid with normal parents. And you know how Lady Bird ends. Wanting your parents to be proud of you is human. There was this one time I went to my friend Cindy's house. Her sister let me borrow her clothes. They helped do my makeup. Her parents saw us dressing up and ordered us sandwiches. We all watched a movie together. They were like, we do this every Friday. And it was like, why can't my family do something this simple without screaming at each other's throats? Why can't they let me pretend that everything's okay? I'm never going to understand the nuance between you and your mom, but feeling frustrated over your relationship with her is normal. I don't know anyone who wouldn't be frustrated. I guess I wanted to have something completely separate from my mom, where I didn't have to talk about her because I know it confuses people. And I didn't want to deal with feeling misunderstood by more people. Oh, June, I'm sorry you're going through this. Thanks for listening. Always. I see a paper lantern, like the ones in Chinatown. I used to go to the Lantern Festival there every year, when I was still in Chinese school. They'd make us do dances. One year I was a lily pad. That's adorable. You did so many things as a kid. Yeah, but none of them stuck. I'm not doing cultural dances anymore, or really anything from back then. Let's see how it is. Now you see me as a lazy adult. I don't do any of them now. I've never heard you talk about the Lantern Festival before. That's because I stopped going. Too old now? My mom still goes, and, it'd be weird if she saw me. My friends still go, though. Your friends know what's going on with your mom, right? I think they just pretend not to notice. Or, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. I used to be so mad at my mom, and I thought it was typical Asian parenting. At the same time, I didn't see all of the special parts about being Chinese. Like what? Seeing a Chinese person at a party and immediately feeling at ease. It's the unspoken bond of meeting someone, sharing no words, but understanding their upbringing entirely. I've never had that feeling before. There was this one time in 6th grade where I was at a sleepover with the girls. We all started doing this one girl's makeup, and she looked gorgeous. Everyone called her beautiful. But then when it came to doing my makeup, they made me into a literal raccoon. It wasn't on purpose, but Asian eye shapes aren't the traditional Western beauty shape standard, so no one understood how to do my makeup. So while my friend was complimented by everyone in the group, I was a clown. I'm sure they were trying their best. They were, but whenever I tell this story, my Chinese friends all know exactly what I'm talking about, with my eye shape and the whole feeling ugly because you're Asian. Everyone else thinks it's a story about me being an insecure kid, but no. It's me being an insecure kid because I'm Asian. I don't know why anyone would think Asian people are ugly. Growing up, a lot of that was faded. But I remember being young and having this guy confide in me that he liked my friend, being like, she's pretty for an Asian. I truly don't understand why anyone would voice that opinion, especially to you. I used to wish I was white, or I used to have so much comfort in being Asian, but I don't know anymore. Okay. I hated being Asian as a kid, and all the best parts of my cultural identity are no longer there because my parents and I don't talk. I don't know, June. The way you describe your Asianness, the market, stealing fruit, it really sounds like you haven't let go. I remember these things, but they're no longer a part of my life. It sounds like you carry them with you. I guess. No, really. If you asked me to describe the American experience, I'd say something general like our crazy political climate. But you describe these parts of your life with so much detail. I just don't know if the Asian community accepts me. It doesn't help that my family is the black sheep of the Asian community. They should understand that it's not your fault. You know how you see your parents this one way when you're a kid, but then you grow up and you have this big realization your parents are actually regular people. I went through that, but I realized my mom isn't even that. Your mom is human, but your realization is more sad than humbling. I don't think my mom is this evil person. I think she's someone who can't control her temper to the point where I can't have a relationship with her. You can't control who your parents are. Some people let that bad luck define them. My mom hasn't contacted me since our big fight. I'm never going to pretend like I know what you've been through, but you've had a rough couple of years. The fact that you still have the capacity to emphasize with people, to give people your all, is a testament that you're a good person. I was at my friend's house for her birthday. While we were gone, her parents decorated the entire house and cooked us food. We got back and everyone had dinner with them. My friend deserves all of these things, but the whole situation feels more fancy than what normal parents are like to me. Her mom asked about my parents, and it's like, what am I supposed to say? I don't speak to my parents. Actually, they're still alive. You could put it at, we live separate lives now. Yeah, but then I'm the one bringing down the mood. I'm the one ruining the group dynamic because I have issues. That's not your fault, though. I want to go where no one knows my name, where I don't have to think about the person I'm supposed to be. It doesn't matter how much you run. It'll catch up to you eventually. I see my neighborhood streetlight. Why is that? When I was about to go off to college, I'd lie under the streetlights with my friends, and we'd talk about life. I spent my whole life wanting to see more city, more people outside of my bubble. But once I left, I realized that there was actually so much life already in my hometown, as suburbia as it is. You will always call it boring. That's the point, really. You can't go out, so you lie under the streetlights and talk about life and why you're scared of the future and all that. When there's nothing to do, you may as well share your deepest hopes and dreams. I'd like to think a great scholar said that. Who would this great scholar be? Me. I said this. Well, scholar or not, I think you're right. A lot of my secrets were shared under a streetlight at night. The stars hold all of our secrets. That's pretty intimidating. The amount of time I've shared my secrets because it was late at night and I was in my feels is embarrassing. Then the next morning I'm like, mistakes are made. I know the feeling. There was this one time I liked this guy and we were messaging late at night. I just started sharing my entire life story because I was like, he's going to get all of my life trauma and fall in love with me. But then he ended up ghosting me. You share your life story at all times of the day. Yeah, but I think because I was exhausted, I convinced myself that we were soulmates, that he was destined to like me. That's a lot of hope to have. Yeah, but I hold out on things that aren't meant to be. Duly noted. No, but I think we all want to be loved so badly that sometimes we show parts of ourselves we regret. I want to prove the cynical part of me wrong. But I never do. You always talk about how little you believe in things, but you really are one of the most secretly hopeful people ever. You took a chance in our relationship when an average cynical person wouldn't. I did think about what I was doing for 10 hours a day. Yeah, but it's the action that really counts and what affects your life. That's what you should hold on to. This is gonna be a book. I see my journal, because it was the only thing that brought me comfort when I took time off school, and I think it deserves its own constellation. You don't strike me as a journal person. My therapist makes me write in one. If it's that important to you, then I think it deserves a constellation too. It's been almost a year since I took a semester off. I've been thinking a lot about that time in my life. What have you noticed are all the painful but necessary woes of self-reflection? That really be a good description. It comes from the personal experience of someone who's about to sleep, but then remembers the time she was 15, told her crush she liked Wes Anderson films, when she hadn't seen a single one. Then him asking, "What's your favorite Wes Anderson film?" Oh my god. True story. I feel secondhand embarrassment just thinking about it. He didn't like me back. That's when I learned that if I'm going to fake interest in something, I should do research first. I like how the lesson wasn't to stop faking interest, but to fake it better. So what painful but necessary woe have you been thinking about? I realized how much better I would be now if I spent those 2 years I wasn't at college productively. I wasn't the type of person that anyone wanted to be friends with. I had all of these goals that I put on hold. Now that I'm finally getting better, I could have done so much more. You can't control that you had depression, so it isn't your fault. Right, but no one told me that I could never make friends or make progress on my dreams. I did it to myself, obviously not intentionally, but it still happened. You're doing great things now, though. You're back at school. You have me and so many other people. Yeah, but if I didn't waste those 2 years, my life could be so much better. I think the important part is that you picked yourself up. People spend decades confused. You know exactly what you want in life, which is already more than most people our age. I've always known. The execution has been the difficult part. Knowing is difficult in and of itself. I wanted to be seen for my accomplishments. That validation would have made me happy, but I had to stop being depressed and do something first. You should give yourself more credit, or it takes so much courage to allow yourself to heal. Give yourself more credit. But I knew that it was the reason people didn't want to be my friend. I carried the negative emotions with me everywhere. I was difficult to be around. Earlier this year, I ran into a guy I met at our college newspaper. We talked in the semester before I dropped everything. When he saw me again this year, he was like, "I'm so glad that you're in a good place in your life now, because back then, you were terrible to be around." He didn't have to say that. But the reason it really affected me was that he was completely right. I tried to make friends, and it never panned out because I wasn't likable. I couldn't help that I was depressed. I know, but he shouldn't have said that. You knew. You never know what other people are going through. Everyone knew and loved him. He was where I wanted to be. Just because people like him doesn't mean he said the right thing. I saw all of these people who were smart and sociable, and I wanted to be them more than anything. I didn't care if they were boring. They were happy. That was everything to me. Loss, want, happiness. These are all the quickest ways to learn about the world. Regardless of the whole boring thing, there are so many people like me who want to accept you as you are. I've learned that now. But after so many years of being left out, it's hard to drop that mindset, the painful parts of myself, the toxic thinking, the insecurity, the mental illness. Seemed so big that people never wanted to be with me. But mental illness isn't who you are. You are an amazing artist. You're a good boyfriend. You see people for who they are. I recently met this guy in my class and realized that we did the same type of art, so I looked him up. I saw his profile and realized that he was the real deal. While I was back at home, he was refining his style. You could do that. You're already off to the right start. I don't know, though, if I could ever reach that level. I don't know if my best will ever be enough. And now I have all of this lost time. You needed that time to be where you are at now. If you never went through the self-reflection or took time off school, you'd still be where you were a year ago. I guess I'm frustrated that I'm not someone else then. How I like to see it is that there have been moments in my life I wouldn't trade for anything. If I were a different person, I'd lose them. If you really think about it, you're these We're these fleshy bodies trying to make sense of the world around us. There isn't one right way to be a blob of muscle and fat. How poetic, June. I mean, really, comparing one fat blob to another, it's pretty funny if you think about it. At least that's what I tell myself to help me sleep. Then what happens if one fat blob likes another? I know this is your attempt at being romantic, but I'm not feeling it. Can't say I didn't try. I get what you're trying to say about comparing yourself. I could be the best version of myself starting from now, and I still don't know if that's enough. For that to happen, I need to advocate for myself the way you do. If anything, I need your patience. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? We should combine ourselves to form the perfect person, learn from each other. Oh, this is awkward. I would love if I could talk to people more. I would love if I didn't blabber so much. Love if I were a cute artist boy. If I didn't blabber so much. We would make a great person. Agreed. Hey, June. Yeah? I really hope you know how amazing, resilient, and special you are. No matter what my current situation is, I hope you know you can always talk to me. I'll always be there for you. Miles shifts his body to lean towards mine. Our faces so close I can hear his breath. You're my person. I used to dream about what being in a relationship was like. I had all of these fantasies about guys throwing rocks at my window and making me playlists to fall asleep to. But what has happened between us is even greater than anything I could have imagined. No matter what's happened in my life, having you here has made it all worth it. You're worth it all. You are the brightest person in my room. Remember that one time you walked me home after the Father John Misty concert? Yeah. You told me you wished my past self could see you now. I remember. I wish my past self could see me now. Stars shoot across the sky. Did you see that? I've never seen a shooting star before. Then you should make a wish. I did. What did you wish for? I don't think I'm supposed to tell you. I don't like this rule about wishes. You'll know what it is soon enough. Really? Let me tell you this. What I wished for just came true. Just now. I wish that I could fall in love this summer, and I did. I love you. I love you too. Not just that. I love how you are unapologetically yourself, no matter what. I love how you dance when no music is playing. I love how you get excited over the smallest things, like seeing your favorite food at the grocery store. I love that you have the worst luck when it comes to dating, but you still took a chance on me. I love the way you say yes to all of my weird ideas. I love that you get more beautiful and determined each day I know you. I love that I get to witness your growth. Please tell me you rehearsed that, because it was way too smooth otherwise. I did give myself a good pep talk in the mirror before tonight. Alright, and that is it for the space in between. It's really funny because from this picture, I thought her hair was short, and it's actually long. But yeah, that was a bit more, straightforward and linear than I was expecting. It was tagged, I'm not sure if it was tagged on the store page or if it just moved it into my dynamic tag of point and click, but it said point and click, which I guess it is because you have to click on the constellations, but you really only could put it together the way that they wanted you to. So, and they gave you a couple actual choices between things, but it didn't really amount to much. Although when it came to picking with the constellations, obviously, I think it would give you a different memory when you picked seeing something different. But anyways, it was pretty much just a trait kinetic story for the most part. And yeah, it's really about racism and depression and kind of our confidence issues and how these can stem from these problems. So it was interesting. It was their relationship was cute. For the length of the game, I would say it was pretty good, and for being free. There's not much else I can say about it. Until next time.